surprised you haven't heard about me. You know, I got a bad reputation. I mean, sometimes I just go nuts like now.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Meanie.
Hey, Mom! Oh, no! We suck again!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Romero from SteelSanctuary.com. We got a full crew tonight. We got David Cora, we got Bob Quinn, we got Trent King. Guys, what's going on?
We're having fun.
Bob, you can't put those funny ones right at the very end as soon as we're supposed to go live. That makes it very difficult to keep.
Hey,
keep
shout out!
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw it today, but Tommy, I hope I'm saying his name right, Jaggy. He did the last 5 years of Colbert's drafts, and I know everybody was talking about it. He got a bunch of views on Twitter. It was really interesting to show that, you know, Colbert had, I think, one pick in the last 18 years that was any good.
Just so you all know.
Right.
Trent. Go ahead, Trent.
Tanner's question was answered immediately.
Yeah.
It took all of about a minute, 20 seconds.
Not even. I mean, the insult was in the intro, literally. Like, we're not even starting the show. The intro is insulting Kevin Colbert. We're off.
I was like, draft bus show, and we don't want to go back any further than 91. I was like, you got Colbert's drafts out, and I'm good.
Just so y'all know, I'm taking one for the team. Trent set me up with this idea of doing draft busts. Just set me up. Heat it up for Bob, and Bob's going to knock it out of the park today. So let's just be prepared. Before we get to the draft busts, which I can't wait for, let's do some news. It's not much, but there is a little bit. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. I know Dave's opinion already. What do you think about Chase Claypool? Would you bring him in for shits and giggles? Don't look at me like that, guys.
No, my shits and giggles is you bringing this up.
You know, honestly,
Bob, back me up. Come on.
There you go. Yeah, go
okay.
ahead, Bob.
So under the very narrow window of, okay, you're not going to ask for music to be played. You're not going to make the motion on first down. He's still a young guy. He seemed to have
27.
a world of talent. He washed out every other place he's been. Would it be the worst thing to bring him to camp and let him try out? Maybe. And, you know, but I really think he'd be oil and water with Aaron Rodgers. But that being said, you know, if you want a Christian Watson clone, I mean, he's a go ball guy. I mean, I don't know that we necessarily need that, but, you know, would I bring him to camp as a not guaranteed contract to see if he's turned his life around? Yeah, why not? Let him have a second chance.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Just, you know, that minimum contract, let him compete. 27 years old. I guess I was reading up. He missed all of last year with a dislocated toe that he did in training camp and had to have surgery and rehab. 27, you know, he said he's faster than ever. He ran 4.3 at the combine. There's not many humans on this earth that are, 6'3", run 4.3. Is it not worth a gamble? Is it not worth a shot?
He's on a very short list, and Calvin Johnson is at the top of that list. And when you throw out names like Calvin Johnson, maybe it's worth it. I mean, I honestly, though, I mean, I would have the same quibble as the George Pickens stuff. I'd be interested to hear because it's basically the same guy. I mean, DK and Claypool, although DK is much, much better than Claypool, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Guys, this guy went from being Mapletron to Maple Clown in the blink of a fucking eye. Like, no. Like, nobody wants him. Like the Bears, for some stupid reason, gave us a 32nd overall pick for him. And then they found out real quick, wow, this guy's a clown. Like, maybe he's changed. Maybe I just, the Steelers are not, they're moving on from this kind of shit. That's the thing. I think that they're trying to move on from this kind of stuff. I think.
Trent's being awful quiet over there.
All right. Here's the fun take. Well, this is probably going to be my first of many multiple fun takes of the day. I attribute two people for ruining Kenny Pickett's career. First is Matt Canada. The second is Chase Claypool. He's the worst fucking contested catch guy I've ever seen in my life. I would trust Calvin Austin the third over Chase Claypool. The first 2 interception game of Kenny's career was Chase Claypool jumping 45 inches in the air, reaching down to his fucking toes because he didn't need to jump.
Yes.
He is the worst.
Like a lawn chair.
Yes, he was the worst contested catch guy I've ever seen in my life.
Talking about. He folded like a lawn chair. Like I never seen nothing like it. It was like, what are you doing? Why are you folding your body like that on a jump ball?
Well,
like,
now
it made no sense.
Now hold on. In fairness to Chase Claypool, and I can't believe I'm putting those words in the same.
I can't believe I'm not the only one defending him today. This is awesome.
But in fairness to Chase Claypool, and we should have right away thought, okay, wait a minute, put Kenny Pickett back on the fucking bench, because when he threw that lob or that big rainbow ball, Claypool had to stop. He should have signaled for a fair catch. It looked like a punt. And had to come back to it. He fucked it up, no doubt. Claypool is just as much to blame, but it ain't. If he'd led Claypool, he walks into the end zone.
I would take your thing a different way. I think Matt Canada ruined Claypool, Pickett, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens. I think he ruined them all. That 2.5 years of absolute hell he put them through. I think he ruined all of them. Look at these back-to-back 800-yard seasons for the Steelers. He had 9 touchdowns his rookie year. I mean,
has Claypool worked out for anybody yet?
Not yet. Let me read you some names. Craig Lumon, Montana.
What?
Brandon Johnson. Rock Taylor.
Hell yeah.
Are these guys that you're willing to sacrifice?
Rock.
Are these guys you won't sacrifice for a chance at Chase Claypool? That's the third.
I'd take Rock Taylor any day over that clown. You already got to see what he does. This isn't like we don't know.
He could have grown
know
up.
what we're getting.
He could have grown
we're
up.
getting a human lawn chair out there.
Oh.
No, I'm good.
You know why he's going to run faster than ever? Because he can't fucking catch unless the ball's laid out in his hands.
And this is the other thing, too. This is the same guy where they had 50 seconds left on the clock. He gets a first down. Acts like he won the Super Bowl.
I know.
Like,
I know all.
Come on, man. Like, no.
I mean, did he even do anything in the Canadian League? Like, at all?
I'm trying to look up his stats now.
I don't remember anyone really even talking about him being a serious prospect.
He did not. He didn't play. They didn't play.
And then last year, I think the Bills were excited to see what he could do, and then he hurt his toe really early on and really didn't get to do anything with Buffalo.
Yeah.
He averaged 14 yards a catch.
Look, as a camp body, as a maybe, think about it, you wouldn't have to pay him anything.
No. Minimum contract.
Yeah, if he makes the team, you give him a minimum contract. But, that being said, now if we're talking at the expense of signing Gabe Davis, trading for Green Bay wide receivers,
no, that wouldn't affect it in the least. Although, unless he starts to do really well, unless he's good at Roman Wilson in the offseason, then forget it. They won't make any trades.
I doubt he's put in the kind of prep and work that Roman Wilson has put in on his body.
Oh, this is a good point, too. And he blocks. He might not be the greatest blocker in the world, but...
Yeah,
you said Gabe Davis blocks.
Yeah.
Oh, I misread that for a second.
Yes.
Claypool blocks, too. We'll see. I know the Steelers aren't going to do it, by the way. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Warren Sharp had ranked the running back rooms in the NFL, and the Steelers came in at 24th overall in the league.
What? 24th?
Yes.
Why?
People are sleeping on the Steelers running back room. They are sleeping on it.
Like really, really sleeping on. That's crazy to me.
Well, okay.
When you look at the lead running backs, there's at least 10 like Pro Bowl caliber running backs that you'd have to rank over the Steelers room just because their number one guy is better.
I'd have to take a hard look at that. 24th, you said, right?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, Warren has shown he's dynamic. Caleb Johnson on paper could be really great.
And this is a predictive. It's not like
Gainwell's okay. I mean, I'm not saying Gainwell's like great or anything, but like
Gainwell was probably the second. I mean, to me, was if not the second, certainly a top 5 second tier back.
He looked good
in
against
the NFL last year. Yeah, I mean, he was second up.
That's not saying anything.
But I just 24th. I don't. Wow. I don't know.
To me, that's putting too much stock into one guy in the running back room. How many running back rooms are? I mean, Derrick Henry. But how many times do you have a team where that lead back is just the overwhelming majority carrying? You have to take the full room into account, in my opinion. I don't feel like he's doing that.
Yeah, it's usually RBBC with most teams nowadays. So, like,
do you have the list? Could you read us off like the top 5 or 10?
Oh, okay.
Top 5 is Lions, Eagles, Falcons, Ravens, Dolphins.
I can't really argue with that.
Yeah,
no, Dolphins, absolutely. You said who else?
Ravens, Falcons, they have great running back. Eagles, obviously. Lions have that 1-2 punch.
I don't know. Those 5 are good. I think those 5 are good. Yeah.
Then he goes 49ers, Raiders. Raiders is because of the one back. Colts.
They drafted Genty. They're going off of drafting Genty, correct?
Oh, that's right.
So,
But the Raiders were the worst running back room in the league.
Yeah, like that. That's one guy. Like it's it.
Yeah, that's weird. That one's a little
now,
weird.
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm also arguing for us with Caleb Johnson, but I'm just saying they're going off one guy in a fucking running back room.
One fat guy in a running back room.
I knew it
was coming. We knew it.
I knew it was coming.
He's got Colts 8, Buccaneers 9, Packers 10, Seahawks 11, Rams, Jets, Chargers, Cardinals. We were talking about the Cardinals in the prep, but
the Chargers.
Chargers have Najee Harris.
No, they got Omarion Hampton.
And Omarion Hampton too.
Yeah.
Still though, one drafted guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Saints. Who's the Saints? I can't even think of
Kamara.
Kamara's like in his 30s, right?
Yeah, I think we're better than the Saints.
Bengals? Better than our room?
Well, you know that.
Did they draft somebody too? Apparently,
no.
Chase Brown was pretty good last year.
Chase Brown did fine. He did, but it's just one guy though. To put it, I don't know. I don't know about that.
They had. I can't think of who beyond Ramondre they have.
Well, they got Stevenson, then they got who else?
The Patriots, Travion Henderson.
Oh yeah.
Well,
but we drafted.
Well, yeah, but you got Ramondre Stevenson, who is better than Jalen Warren.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to give it to the Patriots on that one. I think that's right.
I guess.
I forgot all about that. Then you get the Panthers, Titans, then the Steelers.
Panthers.
The Panthers paid their running back, and he didn't do shit last year.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think I can make a case that we're better than the Seahawks, all the way up on the top of that list. Zach Charbonnet, and I mean, I get it. Like,
pretty special.
Yeah, he's a good back, but like,
aren't they injured all the fucking time though?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Because I thought the argument with Warren is he gets injured, maybe. But they get injured all the fucking time in Seattle. Like I don't.
Well,
I don't know, that's crazy to me.
Look, Kenneth Walker, when he's healthy, is a top 5 back. And he just is. Kenneth Walker.
Oh, Walker.
Yeah,
Seattle.
He's injured a lot too, though. I had him on my fantasy.
He's just
team
injured all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But you're right. When healthy, he's really good. I don't disagree with that. It's just, what are we basing this off of? Like guys that are injured a lot, or just
Jalen Warren's? I mean, the top side of Jalen Warren versus the top side of Kenneth Walker. To me, that's not really close.
I don't think I could disagree with that.
I don't know if we're top 3 just in what close. We're getting slept on for sure. I think they're going to revisit this list at the end of the year. And
I still think we're at least around top 15.
Look,
top
if Caleb
20.
If Caleb Johnson is who Trent thinks he is, we're probably a top 10 running back.
Yeah.
If Caleb Johnson, who is just good, I still think we're top 15.
Damn, Justin said we're top 3.
Yeah, that's a little aggressive, but we like it.
That's a stretch.
That's a dedicated fan right there. He's looking through the black and gold lenses.
Don't listen to him, Justin. You're right.
Yeah, we're not disparaging him. We're appreciating his fandom.
Fucking assholes.
All right. Wait, I saw another thing in the news. Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be a starting quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts. He got drafted by them. They hold his rights in the CFL.
You know, if he's smart, he'll go there. Honestly, because why be in the top 4 in Cleveland? He'll probably develop more in the CFL than he would under the Cleveland Browns.
He might have a point there. Oh shit, Relic off the top rope here.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see there, big guy.
I have a feeling Relic's going to have some picks that maybe belong in the second half of this show. Just kidding, buddy. We're happy to have you.
There's a couple spots left open if anybody else wants to join our Steeler Sanctuary private league on Ultra GM. Use Steeler Sanctuary 25 promo code and get $5 off. We should put that in there. All right. One last thing before we get to our draft. Bob, the floor is yours. You weren't here for the Omar Khan episode. Give us your thoughts. I want to go take a drink. I'll be back.
It's an outstanding move by the Steelers to extend to Omar. It's the partnership with Andy Weidel really, really works. I love it. As long as they keep both under contract, I'm very, very happy. Look, Omar Khan, good or bad, whatever you think of him, he's changed the way the Steelers do business. They're aggressive with trades. They're aggressive in the free agent market. These are things that the Steelers never did. And Andrew Filipponi, take it with a grain of salt, has made this point a lot over the last week since he got the extension, was that there was a time when the Steelers relied on the draft and laughed at teams who were building through free agency. And because it worked, we were winning playoff games, we were winning Super Bowls, we were relevant. We haven't won a playoff game in 10 years. We needed to change. Whether these changes are good or bad in the long term, who knows? But bottom line is, at least it's not business as usual. So I'm ecstatic about the Omar Khan extension, and we'll see as some of these guys pan out. 3 years is the perfect amount of time. He's done 2 or 3 drafts. We'll see the production of those 2 or 3 drafts. Then, if it didn't work, okay, so long. The fear for me is that Andy Weidel will get a job if we win a playoff game, and then I think we're kind of fucked.
Yeah, I think you're right. As far as Andy Weidel getting a job, whether or not they're fucked, probably. They just got to go get another draft guy. But, yeah, I think Andy Weidel will be on a lot of people's lists going into next year, especially if these draft picks start to hit. I'm curious to think, after this year, do they go back to their normal conservative ways once they draft a quarterback and fully commit to this rebuild? Is the free agent frenzies and trades gone, and is it back to business as usual? Because they're just – a lot of this is just going all in for this year. Let's be honest. They're just trying to, do whatever they can to be competitive this year.
Hey, Omar's been pretty aggressive his whole tenure, so I don't think they go back to a conservative way. My fear with Andy Weidel is I think he sets the draft board. I think Omar helps him enforce it and talk Mike Tomlin into, hey, don't draft this guy, draft this guy. And the word is, of course, Tomlin has final say, but at least there's pushback in the room of, hey, Mike, your guy ain't in our top 50. What the fuck? Why do you want him? At least there's that.
Oh, boy. I don't like this one. Omar Khan might be the best one in my lifetime. Were you born 3 years ago?
Look, I rag on Colbert, but, Colbert's first 8 years on the job were pretty damn good. Tom Donahoe was a pretty good GM, and, Dan Rooney, I'm sorry, that's the best GM in Steelers history.
Having that back-to-back was pretty good. That was pretty good. They did pretty well. Colbert in the first, Bob says 8, I'll say like 10 years. Pretty good. Can't argue that.
There were misses for sure, and we're gonna go over those misses. But there were some hits in the mid rounds too.
Oh yeah, I mean there was and that
he missed. There's no question. The last 5 years, the first round picks were bad. Like, you just can't argue that.
Yeah.
For multitude of reasons, but there's just no defending it. I mean, it was bad. All right,
hey,
go ahead,
before we move on to the draft, I'm curious if you guys heard about the Aaron Rodgers thing. So Bill Cowher goes on Dan Patrick and says Aaron Rodgers needs to have autonomy. He needs to have freedom at the line of scrimmage. He's a veteran quarterback to do what he can do. Then Gerald McCoy on the Speak podcast, which if you've ever listened to the Speak podcast, congratulations, you're the missing audience member. But it made the news that Gerald McCoy, who he was a pretty good lineman in his time. Says how Aaron Rodgers has to come in and be deferential and fit into the team and not disrupt the locker room. Gerald McCoy never played for the Steelers. He played for the fucking Buccaneers. What does he know about the Steelers locker room?
Nothing.
No idea.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has to be himself. And whatever that is, he has to continue to do that because he's been successful his whole career.
Yeah,
he's not going to change. Yeah. He's not going to change just because he's with the Steelers now. He has to be himself. And if that's taking control of the locker room, that's what we all want, right? We all want him to take control of the offense.
Yeah.
And, tell Mike Tomlin to fuck off when he wants to punt or, call the toss on 4th and 2. We want somebody like that. We want like Ben Roethlisberger used to do when he was here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what everybody wants. You don't want him to be deferential.
I don't remember ever hearing a teammate of his really talking badly about him. Mike Williams last year, but that's like name me a Green Bay Packer who's ever said anything bad about Aaron Rodgers. Like, it doesn't happen. And like, if he's such a hard guy to get along with, why the hell is our entire receiver corps out there in Maui, or Malibu rather, following him around like lost puppies? Like they want to be around this dude
on his dime, by the way.
Yeah. So like, I don't get the argument. Like, I've said it before. I'll continue to say it. I think his reputation is because people don't like his takes on political stuff and things of that nature. And he's got some pretty out there type of, ideas and mindsets on things. But like, football player, I've never heard a single person say a bad word. He and McCarthy had a pretty rough. I've never heard Mike McCarthy ever say a bad word about him. Like, you can't find somebody. So I don't get it.
And he really trashed Mike McCarthy. He did not like him.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
As far as Mike Williams is concerned, he was cooked. So it wasn't because, Aaron Rodgers wasn't throwing the ball. Like, he can't play anymore. And we found out that the hard way the second half of the season. He just can't play. So anything he says, I take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
He's just a washed up receiver bitching about not getting, the ball thrown his way. Get the hell out of here. All right, you guys ready to start the bust draft?
Who's going first? I went first in the defense draft, so I should not get the first pick.
I'll go first.
All right.
Is that all right? You guys good?
Who goes second?
All right. I'm taking Kenny Pickett. Oh, who's going third?
What?
Who's going second?
Who's going after me?
Trent, go ahead. Trent, go next.
Well, let me just expound on
go ahead.
Kenny Pickett. To me, when you don't draft the quarterback correctly, it sets the franchise back 5 years at the minimum, and we're watching it right now. We could talk about the other guys that we're going to talk about, but it's not the quarterback. The quarterback is the most impactful position on the field, and when you blow that pick, Kevin Colbert, forgive me, when you blow that pick, you've really killed the franchise, and there's no way around.
No.
In a quarterback draft, we all know sucked. We all knew it.
Yeah.
And they still draft. And we've heard some people come on this show and say it might have been the owner, it might have been Mike Tomlin. We don't know who was responsible, but whoever it was, to me, that's the worst draft bust in the last. We should let people know we're going from 1991 up. By the way, we're not going to do the 80s
modern
or the
era.
70s.
Yeah.
So
when
it's a modern
Donahoe
era.
took over, right?
Yeah.
And then Colbert is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mine's Kenny Pickett.
Donahoe, Colbert, Khan.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you here, Dave. And here's the one thing I will say, and don't fall out of your chair. I don't know that I can blame Kenny Colbert for Kenny Pickett, because it's hard to believe that a guy walking out the door pulled the trigger on the franchise quarterback. I have to believe that was a combination of Tomlin and Art Rooney making that pick. So I don't blame him as much, but he was the general manager. So yeah,
He's got to take some responsibility for it. Yeah, he was the general manager. He could have. I think if he spoke strongly enough against it, I think Rooney would have listened, or at least somewhat listened. But obviously he didn't. Maybe he was checked out. Who knows? Or maybe he thought Pickett was good too. I mean, we've had people on here who said, the owner really loved Kenny Pickett. He didn't want to be another Steelers owner that passed on a Pitt quarterback who ended up being a star and all that bullshit. But I don't know. You can't look at Kenny Pickett and say, this is the next Dan Marino. You just can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. There were some people out there who thought Colbert really liked Pickett, and he was trying to set the franchise up with their franchise quarterback. I mean, there's people out there saying that was the case. So,
all right, convince me. Kevin Colbert's an idiot.
That didn't take too much.
I twisted your arm, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and get our second pick out of the way. This should be no surprise. Jarvis Jones.
Nice.
This dude was billed as like the next freaking Greg Lloyd coming in, the Hall of Fame linebacker. He was the Hall of Fame Herbig before Hall of Fame Herbig was ever around. It just didn't turn out to be the case. He was god awful. I don't know if he ate too many cheeseburgers coming into training camp that year, but there was no explosion off the edge. He might have been the slowest edge rusher we've ever had.
Yeah. I think the Steelers changed their draft philosophy after that. They went more RAS heroes after that pick.
Yes, they did.
And after that, because they were like, shit, we can't draft another bum like that. He can't move.
Before RAS, it was the Spark scoring system they went off of.
Yeah.
The Steelers were one of the few teams that did not take Jarvis Jones off the top of their draft board because of the spinal stenosis. He at Georgia, there was speculation that he might not even finish his college career because of the spinal stenosis.
Yeah.
If you actually looked, his senior year versus his junior year was a little bit worse. So you could see him kind of trending down. He's absolutely a bust, but I do think of him as a kind of a what-if player too, because he had real medical issues, and he shouldn't have been a first-round draft pick, which is why I 1,000,000% agree he's a bust.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like one game really got him as the first-round pick for the Steelers. I can't remember who they were playing, but I remember that he had like a James Harrison against Baltimore type game in Georgia,
Yeah.
and I feel like the organization was just like, this is our guy.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah, I think I remember the game. I think it was the bowl game his junior year, and then he had an okay senior year. But everybody thought, because Georgia. For people who don't know, I live in Jacksonville, which is Georgia South, where Bulldog fans here, Bulldog and Gators. There's some Gator fans. A lot of people didn't think he would finish his career, and everybody said he'll be lucky to play out his first NFL contract.
Which held true pretty
That's
much,
basically
right?
what happened, yeah.
Yep.
Right. So.
All right. Colbert, you're up?
Yeah. Anthony Smith, 2006, round 2. This guy failed to do anything right and was famous for being the idiot that guaranteed a win against the undefeated Patriots.
I forgot about that. Holy shit.
This guy, I mean, like, out of all the things
That's
to
right.
do, you
That's
guarantee a win against the Patriots when they were undefeated. They went on to win every game except for the Super Bowl, thank God. That's the only thing this guy is known for. Just a huge disappointment. And it's literally the one thing he's known for is just that idiotic guarantee that we got smoked. It wasn't even close. So I felt that he definitely deserved to be one of our bust choices.
Well, my man Tanner here is spoiled my pick. I don't, as much as I kind of agree with the Kenny Pickett and the Jarvis Jones, and I don't know that I necessarily put Anthony Smith on the top of my list, but he definitely belongs on the Mount Rushmore here of the all-time draft bust. This is the guy to me for Tanner, Artie Burns. I was picking him all along.
It's good.
The thing that really bugs me, and he pointed out, is that William Jackson went the pick before. And instead of resetting and reevaluating, they panicked and took the next cornerback on the board, Artie Burns. It was a horrible pick. Somehow Artie Burns is still in the league.
I was going to say, in his defense, what is it, year 8? Something like that.
Yeah.
He's stuck around in the league.
He's still stuck around and made a career.
I mean, he's definitely a bust.
Yeah, if he gets drafted in the second or third round where he should have gone, then okay, this is a kid with a nice career. He got paid a bunch of money. First round pick for the Steelers, though, oh my gosh, it was terrible. Just terrible. I can't say. And it really set it back because that was supposed to be Ike Taylor's replacement.
Yeah. I just remember there being a tremendous amount of pressure on that kid because a lot of people were saying the Steelers panicked at the moment. and people were putting a lot of this guy's got to be good, and the Steelers needed a corner so bad. I just remember thinking this kid, he's a lot to go up against, and he didn't. He wasn't the guy.
I remember early in his rookie training camp, Antonio Brown hyping him up, talking about how he's one of the best corners that's guarded me and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, this is not going to end well.
There was a lot of pressure on that kid. There was
a ton of pressure.
Well, when you got a guy that belongs in an insane asylum, saying you're the best.
Yeah, you might not want to go with that.
It's not great. Just saying.
All right.
I'm going to reach back to a Prince song here for my next pick, since I get the wraparound. 1999. Troy Edwards.
There you go. Nice.
Apparently Kevin Colbert saw this pick, had always fantasized about having 5'9" and smaller wide receivers on his team. So he waited until and put them all together in a draft class. Later on in his life, Omar Khan must have saw the same movie. Troy Edwards was the original small first-round pick. And at the time, they ended up – Troy Edwards was so good that they had to pick Plaxico Burress the next year in the first round. That's how good Troy Edwards was. To me, just absolute all-time bust. Was supposed to be a playmaker, special teams guy. No, I mean he was a bum.
All right, so now back to Trent, right?
Yes. Or no, back to David.
I'm sorry, David. Then Trent. Yeah.
Okay. The guy I'm going to go with is Limas Swede.
Hey, we're allowed to pick first-round picks too, right?
Dave's got some favorites. Let him go.
These individuals had an impact on me, Bob. A very impactful thing with me. This guy would be wide open. I don't know how many fucking times for a touchdown and would drop the ball. It would drive me insane. I'd go for a walk just to think about what the fuck just happened. Why can't this guy catch the fucking ball? What is wrong with this guy? It was insane. I don't, and they to this day, no one's ever said what the issue was. He just couldn't catch the fucking ball all of a sudden. I think he was out of Texas, if I remember correctly.
He was.
Had a great career in Texas. I had a buddy of mine at the time that he was a Texas fan. He was like, "Oh, you got this. He's gonna be awesome for you guys." And 2 years later, I was like, "Yeah, he sucks, dude. He's horrible." So I don't, he really stuck out to me as a guy I thought was going to do really good for us, and I just couldn't get over how many times he would drop the damn ball. It was crazy.
Yeah, he was definitely disappointed. All right, Trent, you're up.
I don't know how you go against Devin Bush at this point. I mean, traded up.
It took so long.
Traded. I had him at third on my list. Traded up for this dude.
Yep.
To 10 overall.
Yep.
First round.
Yep.
And he is still in the NFL getting ran over repeatedly. Same thing we saw the entire time in Pittsburgh. I mean, there's nothing else. He started out, his rookie season actually was pretty solid. He had a solid rookie season. And then, I don't know, he got the ACL and it just the wheels completely fell off the wagon and he just started getting blown up every play. I don't know how he's even in the league at this point. There's got to be someone better. No.
Never the same after that knee injury.
No.
It was...
Doesn't want to hit nobody. He doesn't want to tackle. It's crazy. No. It's insane.
I remember that outfit he came out with at the draft. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
That crazy outfit. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah,
we fucked
half
up.
White, half black.
Oh my God, we fucked up.
Fuck are you
crazy
wearing?
Haircut. I'm like, yeah, we're fucked. No. I knew it.
Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, when he played in Seattle, had about 42 broken tackles just of Devin Bush. Yeah, I mean, it was repeated. It was all game long. Dude was terrible. just terrible.
You can tell Trent's so fucking mad.
Trent's got some.
Fucking Devin Bush.
All right.
I'm surprised we ever traded up for another pick again after that one. I thought that was it. I thought we were done. We were never trading up again.
Right.
All right. Forgive me, Kevin Colbert, but we got to put Terrell Edmonds in here. My man was not a first-round pick. He was a...
Yeah, you're right. He was.
I guess he was a solid, strong safety for the team a couple years. He played well with Minka. He was a good riding mate with Minka. But in no world was this guy a first round talent. I remember jaws dropping when they announced his name. Like, who? What? Again, the Steelers, they went through a bad phase of this where they were honing in on one position that they thought they needed, and they were drafting that position come hella high water. And unfortunately, Terrell Edmonds, who is he even in the league anymore? Did he play last year?
Oh, Bush? He played for the Browns.
Yeah, he played for the Browns.
Edmonds. Edmonds?
No.
Oh, Edmonds.
Edmonds.
I think he played for the Eagles, right?
He did, but didn't they cut him?
For a little while, they cut him, and I don't think he got back on the roster.
No, he went to the Titans, I thought. Was it the Titans he went to?
Maybe.
He might have went to the Titans. I can't remember.
All right, and for my...
Did he? He was with the Steelers at the end of the year.
You got to be kidding me.
He was on the practice squad.
Why don't I remember that?
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that because he got cut by the Titans.
Yes,
and then we picked him up.
Yep.
That's right. How could I forget
when
that?
That happened whenever
well, he's not a bust. He's not a bust.
Yeah. He's
We
back.
missed him so much.
If he's drafted in the fourth round, he's a steal. Drafted in the first round, not so much.
Yeah.
All right, for my wraparound, Kendrick fucking Green. The plug-and-play center. I know it's a third-round pick, but they told us...
Third round. I thought we were... All right, whatever.
They told us he was a plug-and-play starter at center.
They did.
That's what Mike Tomlin told us.
No. Kevin Colbert said that.
No, Mike Tomlin did, remember?
Look it up.
Yeah, they both said it.
We'll get back to you on
Maybe
that.
they both did, but I know for sure I watched Colbert say it.
And
they share the same brain.
That might be part of the problem. He went on to the play with the Rams after? Not the Rams. The Texans for a season.
Yeah.
Had a decent little run. But I think he's almost out of the league now. This guy was not plug and play. He was, a pinata for Steelers fans for a long time, how bad he played. He got run over so many times at center.
Ran by. Like every time
horrendous.
he went. And watched him run by him. What are you doing?
I know he's a third round pick there, but I don't even think he was a sixth round pick. I don't think he was talented enough to be.
I'll give you because of the fact they said he was a plug and play center. That's where I give you the pick because they did tell us that. They even gave him Pouncey's number to wear.
Yeah. He's a UDFA.
Like,
that's all he is.
My favorite thing about him was when a guy slightly stepped to the left, he would fall flat on his face because he was lunging so hard to make that block. And the killer part about it was he was in pass pro.
Yes.
Like you were so far forward in pass pro, you fell on your face.
In his defense, he wasn't a fucking center. The Steelers tried to shoehorn him in as a center. He wasn't a center. He was an undersized guard.
What was it? He had 4 games where he played center in college or something like that. And Colbert and Tomlin go, that's a plug and play center.
Why do they hate Ben Roethlisberger? They hated Ben Roethlisberger. Here's your center, buddy. Good luck. God bless. What the fuck, man? Awful. Awful. All right.
All right, I'm back up.
Trent's back up.
I'm going to go with a guy who had a ton of height. Senquez Golston.
Oh, good one.
Senquez Golston, 0 games played, 0 snaps, 0 ever saw the field. Barely made it out of training camp half the time. I mean, I don't know how you can take a guy in the second round who never, ever sees the field.
But let's be honest, for Madden players, how many of us converted him to running back and made him our starting running back? So
yeah.
I know I did.
You didn't even play a preseason game, right? You never even made it that far.
Never.
Yeah.
He had like 99 speed, though, in Madden. So he won a lot of Madden games. He didn't play in the NFL, but he won a lot of Madden games.
Oh, man.
All right, Dave, you're up. Yep.
Mike Adams. 2012, round 2. Sorry, Bob, I keep doing round 2, but just some guys draft. I think he's supposed to be a great tackle, correct? And was horrendous. Had the failed drug test. Then he had trouble with the law, if I remember correctly. There was some kind of crazy shit that happened there, too. And, I mean, he just nothing. Like, there was nothing with that guy that ever panned out. every once in a while you hear him come up. He's in trouble again with the law. I think. And, oh, Sean Conley. Yep, I brought up Lima Sweet earlier.
Yeah, we said Linus Sweet already.
Trust me.
Yep. He's on David's Mount Rushmore of the draft bus.
He's there. He's there, Bob.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, you're up.
It's all round 2 players.
Yeah, I know. As far as David is concerned, all the round 1 picks worked out.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
I was really torn on this one, but I'm going Ziggy Hood. Okay.
Ooh,
who had a nice NFL career, but where he was drafted, what he was supposed to be, he was really the first miss for Colbert in the first round because, Colbert started out like a house of fire with Casey Hampton, Kendall Simmons, Troy Polamalu, Ben Heath, Santonio Holmes, Lawrence Timmons, Richard Mendenhall, which, okay.
Mendenhall was a good back.
He was good. He was
a good back,
just
though.
Fumbled at the worst time in history. But yeah.
But then Colbert gave us a preview of what was to come. Pick Ziggy Hood, who, frankly, if he'd have been a 4th round pick, he'd been a nice story, a good player, long NFL career. But no, 1st round pick for the Steelers. No, he was not Joe Green.
He wasn't worth that.
Undersized for the position or something. I remember that he really wasn't. They tried to shoehorn in again. Trying to shoehorn a player in.
But wasn't he? Didn't it kind of like he didn't really have that much of a motor? I don't want to say he was lazy, but he didn't really have much of a motor either, if I remember correctly. There was something there. But yeah,
what did he go play for? He ended up doing well after the Steelers.
He did. Was it the Lions?
Titans.
There was one of the defensive.
He ended up playing decent for another team.
Hold on,
you're right. I think he did have a good season or two for somebody.
Played for Jacksonville for 1 year, the Bears for 1 year, but then had a nice little run with Washington where he started for a couple of years.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
Still, Bob, I think it's a good pick, though.
No, it's a good pick for sure.
I mean, at least it was the 1st round. I mean, that's good.
All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying I really wanted to put this guy on the list. Okay. I'm going to withdraw it, but I'm going to mention it. Cordell Stewart is a bust. Cordell Stewart was a good wide receiver in the NFL, and he would have been a great NBA point guard because he mastered the fucking bounce pass. If you watched him play, this is one of my pet peeves with Steelers Twitter, is that Cordell would have been great in this era. Cordell couldn't throw the ball 5 yards in the air, okay? Yeah, he had that nice Hail Mary in college, and his deep ball wasn't bad. And he had a couple of years where, okay, but he tore your heart out. The Denver game in 97 where he fucking threw that interception and, what the idiot Romanowski was pointing to him to think.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
He basically got benched. He wasn't very good. He got benched for Kent fucking Graham. Nice little redemption story in 2001 where he gets him to the AFC Championship game because Bill Cowher had no choice but to play him. For all you people who think he was ahead of his time, Cordell's problem was Cowher was begging him to run with the ball, and he tried to stand in and be a pocket passer. That was Cordell's problem. Interview after interview is Cowher saying, I really wish sometimes if he doesn't see it, he would take off and run. Inaccurate, bounce pass, but I can't put him as a bust because he did have a long NFL career. He did go to 2 AFC Championship games. I just always wanted to say that about him.
I wonder what he would have been if he stayed at wide receiver because he was a fucking good receiver.
Was he a 1st round pick?
He was dangerous.
He was second round pick.
Second round pick.
Well, Bob.
Yeah, he belongs on the list. I would have.
He could have been a really, really, really good wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
he was unbelievable.
When he was used for everything, it was awesome to watch. All of a sudden, it was like he was like, "No, I'm going to be a quarterback." And I was like, "Okay, guy."
And he wasn't. I don't think he was as bad as Bob paints him to be. He was frustrating for sure. Like he'd hold the ball too long. He threw too many interceptions.
I mean, I can remember the Yancey Thigpen watching just bounce pass after bounce pass, and it wasn't like it was a 10-yard out. It was a fucking wide receiver screen, and he couldn't throw it.
I'm
like, ba-boom, ba-boom,
I'm
ba-boom.
not 100% with Bob on this, but Bob's right with some of this stuff. He was an inaccurate passer.
He was. There's no
honestly,
getting around it.
2001 was that one season where it was like, oh, wow, okay, look at him. Like, he's actually doing well. It was that time frame where it was like Cordell, Tom Zach, and there was somebody else. And they were just bad. It was when we had one of those losing seasons. They all three were just horrible. I couldn't remember who the third quarterback was. It was rough.
I remember because I was at work on a Saturday, and we were watching it on a little 4-inch television, and we were watching Cordell, and when he got pulled for Kent Graham, five of us Steeler fans were cheering and jumping up and down. Oh my! For Kent Graham, the original fat guy playing quarterback.
Was that the time frame that they had Tom Zach too? Is that who Graham's the third guy? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so.
I was young, very young, but like I remember that, and it was just god awful to watch.
Those teams around him were very good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was some Super Bowl caliber teams that he was on.
My actual pick though for real is the first guy that the Steelers picked post the Rooney Knoll era, and that's Huey Richardson.
Yeah,
if you're saying who, there's a good fucking reason, because he didn't really get to play. He did get 16 games in the NFL, but he was bad.
Yeah, he was really bad. That was a very big disappointment. I remember back in the day.
Another one on this list I had was Jermaine Stevens.
Yeah.
1996, round one. Drafted as a project, offensive tackle. He struggled conditioning, was cut early in his career.
Yep. Yeah. He was bad. That was a bad one. Trent? You got it, guys?
So.
Ooh, we got it.
I'm only doing this because we talked about him earlier. Chase fucking Claypool is a bust.
He is.
Chase Claypool is a bust. Dude is not even in the league. Like,
that's legit.
I don't care how many people. Ooh, he had 8 touchdowns. He ran fucking 3 of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, they were end-around runs. Like, let's not pretend that this dude was like leaping over people and scoring touchdowns. No, Chase Claypool's a bust. I don't know how we flipped him for a 32 round or number 32 pick, but
the con artist, baby.
The con artist. That's where he got the nickname.
I was tempted, but I said nice things about him early, so I figured I couldn't do it.
All right, I'm up. Broderick Jones, the con artist.
Damn.
They traded up
already.
They traded up for my man.
It's year 3.
It's going to be year 4. It's 3 years of shitty play.
Or is it year 4? Is it year 4?
It's
no. This is year 3.
It feels like 4 years. He's been so bad.
How you gonna do this already with that guy?
Bro, he's terrible. Have you not watched him play? Are you not watching?
He got better as time went on last year.
He was horrible last year, David.
He got better. He got better as time went on.
I'm just curious. What's the highest graded left tackle game in the 2020s for the Steelers?
One game. He played one game.
The only game he played at left
tackle. I bet you I can pick out one game of Jarvis Jones. I can pick out one game Jarvis Jones played well.
Good luck
in
with
his
that.
freaking career.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
I'm going to go back and find it. Anyway. All right. Maybe not a complete bust yet. This is a big year for him. But up to now, I don't know how else you can look at it. They traded up for this guy. Traded up for a first-round pick, and he has been – and I get it. He's playing the wrong position, but still. You shouldn't be horrendous at right tackle. You should be at least, mediocre. Give me mediocre at right tackle.
Or here's a thought. If you draft a guy in the first round, play him in the fucking position you drafted him to play.
I mean, there is that. It is damning.
But Dan Moore couldn't play right tackle.
It's funny you brought that up because I was listening to some Mike Tomlin interviews, and he said in one interview, because they were worried right tackle, they were short at right tackle. This was a couple years ago. And he said Dan Moore is capable of playing right tackle, and somebody else is. He said it on an interview. That was 2 years prior. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, he's untouchable at left tackle. What the fuck happened? It's not because he was all-world left tackle, that's for sure. So I don't know.
As Cam Ward's family is about to find out when they cash the life insurance check when he gets killed.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Do we want to do another round? Oh, we out of players.
Well, I would just
I
like
got more.
to, and I would just like to say maybe for an honorable mention Mount Rushmore round, we throw in some of the all times that didn't make the list.
All right, we'll go one more time around. I'll do Sean Davis. Did we do Sean Davis already?
No.
We didn't yet. Sean Davis, second round pick. He's kind of the Broderick Jones thing where he's got played out of position, got moved around, bounced around. This is another one maybe we can blame on Mike Tomlin, but he didn't live up to a second round picks at all.
For a guy who cut his teeth as a secondary coach, is there a worse talent evaluator at that position than Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, and looking back with his big reputation from the Buccaneers as a secondary coach, who the fuck did he develop there?
The twin. One was a Barber. Wasn't Barber on that team?
Yeah, he was on that team, but he was great before Mike Tomlin got there.
Yeah. And when you look back at all the secondary, Joe Hayden was good, but Joe Hayden was already good.
They kind of fell into Joe Hayden. He got cut,
Yeah.
Jesus, you try to think of good corners the Steelers have had, and it's pretty barren.
Ike Taylor's Cower.
Ike Taylor was Cower. Rod Woodson was Cower. I mean, yeah.
Even Brian McFadden, that was still Cower. That was before.
Yeah, the Tomlin era. It's
been brutal.
It's bleak.
Rough.
I mean, you look back even at guys like, with Donahoe, who wasn't great at drafting corners, but, even guys like Deion Figures, like his misses, they stuck around for a while and were at least decent NFL players. They weren't disasters. You wanted Deion Figures to be the number one corner, but, okay, so he was a solid number two nickel type corner for a long time.
Daniel McCullers is a name from the past.
Yeah.
He was like a 7th round pick, wasn't he?
He was a late round pick.
Yeah. They thought he was going to be the starting nose tackle every year. This is the year Dan McCullers is going to do it. He never fucking did. Trent, you got one more?
All right. I'm going to go another round 2 guy. Alonzo Jackson, linebacker. Played a whopping 18 total games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a fucking stud.
He was sandwiched between Ike Taylor and Troy Polamalu, though, right?
Fucking stud.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember they thought he was going to be a pretty good player, though. He wasn't.
Nope.
He sure wasn't.
He sure wasn't. My next.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Shitty grin.
Will Blackwell, 1997. This will shock you, Bob. Round 2. Had high expectations, but failed to deliver in the receiving game and on returns. This guy must have been so bad that in 97, I mean, I was what, maybe 13? I don't recall this guy.
I barely remember him, too, to be honest.
At all. And if he was a 2nd round pick and we don't really remember him, he must have been really bad.
Yeah, I don't have any memories of him doing anything in the league.
Me either.
Anything.
Yeah. He was not very good.
We're all stumped on that one.
All right, so before I say a modern era candidate, I want to kind of give a shout out. Everybody always goes to the number 1 Steelers draft bust in history, being Gabe Rivera, because they passed on Marino. A little unfair because Rivera, his career was wrecked because of a car accident. I don't think he ever would have been, and drunk driving accident at that. I don't think he ever would have been an all-pro-ish type player, which he would have had to have been a Hall of Famer to be Dan Marino. But the one that sticks in my craw is in 1979, the Pittsburgh Steelers picked Greg Hawthorne in the 1st round, who, if you watch football in the 80s, Greg Hawthorne was an okay player. He's never better than a 2nd or 3rd string running back. Know who they passed on? Joe Montana.
Oh.
We passed on Joe Montana to get Greg Hawthorne. That's, to me, because I'm a Notre Dame fan, I love Joe Montana. I'm sorry, but that to me is the all.
Who's the Steelers quarterback at that time?
Well, Terry was still playing, but they drafted Mark Malone the next year.
You're making me upset about something where I didn't even exist yet.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus fuck.
And bear in mind, the next year if we had taken this back to the 80s, we had some all-time whoppers of. There was a run from 79 to 83 where we just did stupid things. Mark Malone was drafted over 3 Hall of Famers. I mean, it's amazing how bad some of the stuff was.
Fuck.
You know, I mean, it's crazy. Now, staying in the modern era, staying with the exercise. The guy kind of hung around for a little bit. You know, Jeremy, or sorry, I'm saying his first name wrong. It's Stat.
Jeremy Stat, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's Jeremy. It might be Jeremy, though.
I have it right here, Bob. It literally says Jeremy Stat.
Okay, Jeremy Stat. You know, second round pick. He never really panned out. It starts to get a little thin. By and large, the Steelers have been pretty good in the first 2 rounds, if you go back the last 30 years. But, you know, with the run we've had, we're starting to get into 50-50 range. But there was a time when if we'd said draft bust, you could have named off those 5 years in the 80s and late 70s, and that would have been it.
Yep.
Unless you really want to get crazy and go back to the 60s.
I have a round 1 guy, if you'd like to hear it. Jermaine Stevens, 1996, round 1.
That was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Drafted as a project offensive tackle. He struggled with conditioning, was cut early in his career.
He was your 4th round pick. Are you drinking purple drink already?
No, it says round 1 right here.
No, Jermaine Stevens is round 1.
He's round 1.
He was round 1.
You talking shit about purple drink? Don't you worry about purple drink. Okay?
He was your 4th pick on the Rushmore. He was, he was your only number 1 pick. I
didn't pick him yet. Did I?
Somebody did.
Yeah, I have David in the 4th round picking him.
Yeah, I don't recall that. All right. I swear I'm not drinking. So
that dude was just so terrible. David picked him twice.
Bring him up twice, yeah. They wanted to emphasize it.
Oh, wait, time out here. Time out. I said Lima Swede, Anthony Smith. Who else? I said
Anthony
Mike
Smith
Adams.
Was your first round,
Mike Adams.
And then Jermaine Stevens.
He said Mike Adams. He said Mike Adams, didn't he?
Yeah, I said Mike Adams.
That was his 3rd round pick.
I don't remember saying
his 4th round pick was Jermaine Stevens.
I'm a Swede.
So he went back to back.
Smith.
Jermaine Stevens.
Yes.
I can't wait for you to draft an Ultra GM. Draft the same guy 3 times.
No. He only picked Jermaine Stevens once, but he picked him in the 4th round.
I don't recall doing that.
No.
Purple drink.
And he made it down to the honorable mentions too.
That's all right. I'm gonna go back and watch this shit, and I'm gonna see if I picked. And if I didn't, all right, Bob.
Where's the challenge flag? Somebody throw the challenge flag out there.
Greg's lots of Dave's purple drink going around.
Yeah, we can all be.
And obviously, Greg is drinking it because he's saying Stevens wasn't that bad. They cut him for being a fat guy.
Hey, who is it? I don't remember the name. Maybe it's one of the names already mentioned. Who was it that Cower cut at training camp, and he was drafted literally that season?
Somebody put it in the chat, didn't they?
Did somebody?
Fred Gibson.
Yeah, Fred Gibson.
Greg put it in the chat.
Okay, and of course I didn't see it because apparently I'm drunk.
He was cut. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I didn't recall that.
There was a player I remember that he actually was drafted literally that draft, and then that training camp got cut.
How bad do you have to be to get a 3rd round pick and get cut?
Yeah.
Cower had some balls on him. Remember, he cut James Harrison twice. He didn't do it the 3rd time.
Yeah, James Harrison. If you watched his special, I think it was 30 for 30. He admitted that he didn't even know the playbook the first time.
Yeah.
He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And the 2nd time, he barely knew it. And then the 3rd time, he finally kind of got serious about football.
Yeah.
Got better, but yeah.
Did anybody or me mention Kendall Simmons?
He was a starting guard.
It says round 1, while not a completely unproductive player, he didn't live up to being a 1st round pick due to injury and inconsistency.
Yeah, he was the starting guard.
Wasn't
on the
he
Super Bowl
on
team.
The Super Bowl team?
Yeah,
I thought so too.
He was for a 1st round pick. I don't think he ever made a Pro Bowl or.
Well, no, that whole line was fucking terrible in the was it the 08 season? Yeah.
Well, he started all 15 games in the first Super Bowl, or all 16 games, but he got hurt the second Super Bowl victory. He only played 4 games that year.
I just remember the O-line was terrible, and Ben was running for his life.
They didn't treat Ben well. They did not treat Ben well, the offensive lineman.
Although you'll never hear Ben say a bad word about his offensive lineman.
No, in fact, in that Super Bowl when they won it, he was bragging. Who's laughing now, O-line? Remember, he said that while on the stage.
That was 7 for 20. Who's laughing now?
Yeah, when you think about it, this some bad offensive lines Ben had to play with, even at the end of his career too.
Yeah, looking at this, it's what seems like there's a lot of. It's a lot of O-line busts.
Well, Steelers, go ahead. I was going to say the Steelers have never had an All-Pro tackle.
Jeez,
that's crazy, right?
Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
I was just getting ready to say, wait till we do our offensive draft. Wait till you start drafting linemen.
Yeah,
it's slim pickings.
We're gonna have to have 2 rounds.
Marquise Pouncey and David DeCastro. Call it a day.
I will say this: John Kolb in the 70s probably should have made a couple of Pro Bowls, but
that's a name I've seen come up when people talk about other ones.
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness, he's behind guys like Art Shell. I mean, there were some really great tackles. You know, I think Villanueva might be one of the only ones who made a Pro Bowl.
Damn,
that's so
insane.
You
serious?
Yeah, 6 Super Bowls.
That's
countless
crazy.
wins, playoff wins, and offensive linemen. Yeah, it's barren.
But
and Villanueva was undrafted. Didn't even draft him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then you go back, like if you start talking like center, you know, Moon Mullins, who was very underrated, was a Pro Bowl center, turned it over to Mike Webster, turned it over to DeMonte Dawson.
Yep.
You had a little gap there. Then Hardings, who was really good.
Yep.
Then Pouncey.
Yeah.
Now Zach Frazier. So
yeah, they have. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
They can draft centers.
No,
they
they've had a
can't
run
draft
at
anything
center.
else.
They're pretty good at that. But man, whew.
I mean, they've had some pretty good guards too. Faneca, DeCastro. Maybe that's
yeah.
A couple.
That's really kind of it, though.
Yeah. I mean,
So
this franchise is known for defense.
We sure we want to do an O-line draft?
No, well, we're gonna have like one offensive lineman when we do our offensive skill player draft. One offensive lineman each.
Maybe one center, one guard, one tackle.
There you go.
Yeah.
But times 4.
Troy Fuatano.
I can tell you right now, there is not 8 tackles in the history of this franchise that you want to draft.
No, I wouldn't even. I'd cap it at 5, I think.
I bet you I'll find one in the second round.
Dave's drafting Marvell Smith.
Marvell Smith, there you go.
That's a name, man. I haven't heard that name. Wow.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this is fun. Got anything else before we get out of here?
No.
Don't forget to play Ultra GM. Please sign up. You want to fill this roster out with a couple short. Let's get it going. Put your money where your mouth is. And there's a lot of strong opinions in this chat. Let's see you go toe-to-toe with us in real life. See what happens.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing what Relic does with his picks.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be on Thursday, except for Bob won't be there, right?
Yep, 2 more weeks, and then I'll be back. I'll be back regular.
So, the 3 of us will be here. And that's it. Thanks for listening to the Steel Sanctuary Podcast.
That's all the shit I'm gonna get, motherfucker.
Excuse me. Thank you.
What am I supposed to do?
You are embarrassing yourself here, lads.
Saw that coming.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Okay, I'll play. You got me.